over 98.5 Speed FM.
Catch us if you can.
Stay here with you. You are a rainbow, so I am lucky. I am lucky. You are my favorite song. I am lucky. I am lucky. I am lucky. Stay here with you. You are a rainbow, so I am lucky. I am lucky. You are my favorite song. I am lucky. I am lucky. I am lucky.
A speedy welcome to the show for everyone. This is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM, and I'm your host on the show this morning. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior, and I'm here with
Wandoo Tortya
and Felicity Girgir.
And the Speed Lane is where we talk about issues that affect our lives, our communities, and even society at large. We take some of those things, maybe some that are seen, some that are not seen, and then we talk about it, and also get to hear your opinion on our topic of discussion. And today, we are discussing a topic that has existed, for generations, but one that continues to raise serious concerns. For many years, it has been common for children to leave their parents and then go to live with relatives, guardians, family, friends, or well-wishers. Sometimes it is because maybe their parents believe maybe they'll get better education. Sometimes parents cannot afford because of financial difficulty. Sometimes a relative in the cities offers to help train a child. In return, maybe that child is helping with house chores, with things around. Sometimes an aunt, an uncle, older sibling, or even family friends actually volunteer to take responsibility for the child. For many families, this arrangement has worked well. There are people today who became successful because somebody opened their home and then gave them opportunities their parents could not provide. Yes. There are people who still speak with gratitude about the relatives who raised them like their own children. But there is another side to the story. And in recent times, many people have watched, certain, different ways that some of these deeds have been exposed. Disturbing videos involving children who were maltreated by the very people who agree to care for them. Videos of children with injuries, videos of children being maybe maltreated excessively, videos that sparked outrage in communities and even led to maybe intervention by neighbors, authorities. And if you've been online recently, then you must have seen some things like that. Each time these stories emerge, many people ask the same question: how does a child end up suffering in a home that willingly accepts them? Not to say a child should not be disciplined, not to say a child should not be punished, but then how do they end up in those terrible conditions where it seems like, okay, one can clearly tell that this one is not the regular discipline, this is something else that even puts that child's life at in danger? How does someone look at a child, agree to care for that child, and become the source of the child's pain? What changes between the day the child arrives and then the day the child begins to experience neglect, discrimination, excessive punishment, or even abuse? Is it frustration? Is it resentment? Is it jealousy? Is it lack of patience? Is it a belief that because the child is not yours, they deserve less care, less protection, or less affection? And perhaps even more importantly, what can be done to actually protect, children who find themselves in these situations? So today on the Speed Lane, that is what we are talking about. Children in other people's care. All those children, maybe a relative, someone out there must have grown up, like that. Maybe they were taken from their own parents, or their parents willingly, just gave, help me look after this child. Okay, he or she is helping you right in the house, you're looking after them, but somehow you ended up in that house, and then slowly it became, you are the children of the person, the owners of the house are having a meal and you do not deserve to have. You are getting punished unnecessarily. You are getting, things that maybe no child should even have to go through. And when we talk about this, we're talking about this in extreme, because there are things like that where we see. Because tell me why there is a video of me, a woman who actually abused a child to the extent that she was like using candle wax, to actually torture him, and then he had all these injuries around him. But then we are coming to that, so we won't talk, we won't go into so much of those details. But then that is just like an example to put out there. Now you also can call in to be part of this conversation. And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464.
It's 0808 427 5464.
This is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM, and we are talking about children in other people's care. Have you been? Did you grow up maybe being a child who had to maybe stay in with a relative and then face maybe some form of maltreatment simply because in your mind, like as that child, like as you're right there in that house, your mind is because I am not their own. That is why I am not getting the food. That is why I'm asked to just starve. That is why I'm getting this amount of punishment, that no one should actually have to go through. So let us talk about that today. Why do some people even maltreat children they agree to care for? Because you agree to let those children in your house in the first place to actually care for them. So what happened along the line? That is what we'll talk about today on the Speed Lane. So feel free to call in at any point in time to be part of the show. And we said the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464.
It's 0808 427 5464.
This is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And today as well, let's give one person a chance before we actually go forward. Hello. Okay, you can still call back. So Felicity, Wandoo, we know the topic on ground, children in other people's care. So is this something, this whole narration, things about, is it new to anyone's ears?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not new at all. I think we have been hearing about it. I feel like every single time there's a story coming up about this thing, so it's not new at all.
Okay. Hello.
Good morning, please.
Yes, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Benjamin in Girgir is my name, and I'm calling from Yabana Bank.
All right. Welcome to the show, Sir Benjamin.
Thank you. The issue of taking care of children from other family has been like a tradition in Africa.
Okay.
Because it promotes good relationship among the family. Sometimes it is done to see that if one family is not actually handing enough, maybe not financially buoyant to take care of their children, they rather give out to others who may assist.
Okay.
And others may just give out because they want a transformation from the child. So that the child will live a little bit quite different, or maybe we change to better life. But sometimes it is very dangerous.
Okay.
The type of children you bring into your house matters a lot. Some of them, when they come at the early stage, they behave so good, but at a point they realize that you are not their biological parents, and so they begin to misbehave. And when they begin to misbehave, men tolerate more. But women, especially, when such children come from the family of the husband, some women do not even want to feed them at all.
Okay.
So they begin to misbehave too, and they maltreat them. So these are some of the reasons.
Okay.
But yeah. So to me, it is always good that we take care, we help our relations.
Yes.
Because the end, sometimes not the end justifies the means.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Benjamin, for calling in to be part of the show this morning. This is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And we are talking about children in other people's care. You know, going to a relative, you know, to stay, sending your child to a relative to actually say, maybe because you cannot afford, just the way that he said, and we established from the start. Sometimes it's just to promote, you know, helping each other. It has been a tradition, just like he said, helping each other. You're able to help that relative because maybe you don't know, maybe they have too much on their hands, and at the end of the day, maybe it's like it's your relation, so you're trying to help. But sometimes maybe it's like a family friend, just someone that knows somebody that's, you know, knows the other person, right? And then you also can still call in and be part of this conversation, and the number for you to call is 08084 asking. That's 0808 427 5464. So let us hear you, Felicity. You seem like you have been itching to actually say a lot of something that you were telling me that you had seen. So let's hear you share that.
So I was just saying, like, it's not anything new about this thing of staying with other people and then and those people actually maltreating those children. I was just trying to establish that it's not a new thing. We have been hearing about it for the longest. So it's not a new thing online. We see stories about all these things on the internet, sometimes even in real life. So it's not anything new. I was just trying to establish that.
Okay, so how about you, Wandoo? Have you maybe come across, you know, something like this, even if not just online, even in you know, reality neighborhoods, in environments, because sometimes it's not just because when you're seeing some of these things online, you feel like, oh, it's just happening there, but it's not just happening there. So let's hear you.
Okay, well, yes, my neighbor brought a 12-year-old child to stay with him, and it's a relative that's from the brother's side. So instead of, the parents gave him the child so that he will further his education, showing him to school. Instead of doing that, they maltreated this boy. He woke up in the morning, he have to cook, clean the house, and even after school he have to go out and hawk, like sell goods for the man. So at the process, it declined the boy's academics.
Okay.
Yes.
Like he had to like do extra of the work, and
he was not able to focus on his academics.
And I would say like just maybe having to go and sell goods for someone, if that's something they do. Like, I would start by saying that personally I don't think there's something wrong with that. Or is there a point where you're driving at?
There's nothing wrong with that if he's properly feed, because in that circumstance he was not properly feed. After school, without eating, then you now send the child to go and hawk, and say it's not as if they don't have the money. They have the money, but it's just try to torture the child, make him feel bad and depressed and all that. Meanwhile, the child has been trying for the house. He used to work, like he woke up very early in the morning to gather for the house, care for the house, clean the house, mop, cook, and run errands for the family. But it was not enough for them. Go extra mile. Even the academics, even school fees to pay for this child was a problem. The school management have to come to the house and come and complain on a several occasions before school fees is being paid for a child that.
Now let's talk about something. You know our last caller, Sir Benjamin Igege. He's made mention of, how it's good. We're driving at that. How he said, okay, this has been a tradition, something that has been going on. But then he also said that sometimes maybe the child that you brought in, the one that was all innocent, will start misbehaving, and that is when. And he made mention of something very important. He said that the men they usually have like maybe more patience
More
when it
patience,
comes to
yes.
that, and then it's women that mostly inflict that maltreatment on children,
Yes,
especially he said, especially when it's from like their husband's side.
Yes.
That has been, I don't know
Okay.
if you have heard of things like this, then you
Yes.
know that narrative has been on for a long time. So is it actually true, maybe from things that you have seen, like is it actually true that okay, it's the women that even push things like this more, maltreatment on children that are not theirs?
Yes, it's the woman, because they don't have.
It's the women.
Yeah, they don't
Okay,
have
go on.
enough patience. Once you misbehave, they don't have the conscience or like the patience to treat you like. Especially
So
if
is it like all women? Because if you're saying like it's the women, does it mean that okay, men
No.
are even left out of it?
No, it's not all women,
Mm-hmm.
and men are not left out of it either, because some men they don't have patience as well.
Mm-hmm.
So once you are going the wrong way, they feel that the right way is to maltreat you, to caution you, beat you, and
they call it discipline.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
they call it discipline.
Yes.
Okay, but Felicity, since you're itching to also say something, like he says, it's mostly the women, and funny enough, that's not the first time I've heard
Yes, it's not the
that
first
thing.
time.
But then even in those homes that they are saying that okay, it's mostly the women, there are men in those houses, like the
Yes.
husband. So is it that he cannot say anything,
anything.
he cannot do anything or something
I'll
like
first
that?
of all say that I don't really know if it's the women that do it more, but I feel like it's the women that do it more because it's more. Those are the ones that we see more out
Okay.
there, but it doesn't actually mean that men do not do it as well. So women do it more, like because we see more of women. I've never seen a man actually like.
You have never seen
I
a
have
man.
never.
Well,
I've
I
seen it.
have seen
I
actually.
mean, I haven't.
I have seen, and sometimes it's not just the abuse of maybe like even when it comes to like flogging that child or anything like that. There are cases where you say, oh, this person that was brought from the village and the husband has started making advances.
Yes.
That is also
Yes.
abuse.
Okay.
So sometimes
Okay.
it's not just like even beating those maltreatment, because that one is even under the maltreatment too.
Yes.
And again, another point is like they are in the house.
Yes,
you have the
Yes, you
patience.
have
Yes.
the patience,
Your wife
right?
doesn't have the patience.
Yes.
So what are we doing about it? Or anything my wife is doing
Yes,
and
it's-
I'm not
it's right.
doing, and
You're not doing.
I heard something like that, from a program we listened to earlier, about that whole unity. We are consulting each other. If you are talking about something like this, okay, how we are actually treating a child,
Yes.
we are talking to each other, because at the end of the day, if you brought that child in, you're acting like parents to them, right?
Yes.
So I am consulting you, this is what I'm doing, and you are also saying something, right?
Yes.
So you also can call in to be part of this conversation, and the number for you to call is 08084 asking.
It's 0808 427 5464.
This is the speed lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM, and we are talking about children in other people's care. All those children, relatives brought in, to stay with other families, or sometimes maybe not even direct relatives, close friends. Sometimes it's maybe children lost their parents and
Yes.
then they have to move in with other relatives. Sometimes that is not the case. Maybe they cannot meet up financially. They have to go stay with another relative.
Sometimes it's even for better opportunities.
Yes, and
Because
sometimes
maybe where their parents are, the opportunities there are not good enough.
Yes.
So they just send them to a better place.
And I've also seen situations where it's more like it's even the families that request, I want your child to come and
Yes.
stay with us.
And
Let-
help with chores.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or maybe I have a small baby, so
Can
he
help
can
each
be,
other.
or yes, they can be keeping themselves company.
Yes.
They can help each other, and then while I'm away at work,
Yes.
and in turn I'll be paying their school fees. But then it comes and then there is something else that is wrong. What actually goes wrong? Why do they now start, maltreating these children when it gets to their when the child gets to their care? Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464.
It's 0808 427 5464.
This is the speed lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM, and I am your host on the show. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior, and I'm here with,
Wandoo Tortya.
And Felicity Gigi.
and we are talking about children in other people's care. Why do they get maltreated? Where does that maltreatment, actually comes from? When it's a child that you willingly maybe accepted or anything like that. So what then happens later on that leads to maltreatment of that child? So Wandoo, you explained like something you witnessed in your
Yes.
neighborhood of
Yes.
a child. What would you say was the actual reason? Because someone already gave a reason about maybe some children being the actual cause.
Yeah.
But from what you saw, what would you say the problem was actually?
Well, I think the problem was that the boy's family were not supporting. Like sometimes, if your child is staying with someone, at least sometimes you call, check in, and at least support, like bring some food stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So the frustration was now on
it's on
the
that
boy.
Yes, on the boy.
Okay.
And they were like, the parents should at least care for the boy. They just came and dropped the boy with them
And
without
left all the
and left
workload
all for
Okay.
them. So they were angry.
Okay.
All those things that you hear when they are beating the person, like your mom will not even send anything.
Yes,
they are
yes.
keeping you here. You are stressing me. Do you know
I'm
how much
feeling
is?
you? Yes, your school fees, everything I pay, and nobody can no appreciation. They are just like that. They're just there, just watching me. So they got angry. That was the reason why.
Okay, that was what you're able to sense that the
Yes.
frustration
Yes,
was.
was.
And we are also streaming live on Facebook at Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM Makudi. So you can watch live on Facebook and even leave a comment if you have something to say. We are talking about children and other people's care. You know, why is there sudden maltreatment when children, leave to go and stay with relatives? Like you are accepted to actually take those children in. Nothing wrong with actually disciplining the child, because the same way that you flog one child is the same way that you flog your own child, you know. And but then why do they take it to extreme when it's someone else's child? But then you accepted to actually have those children under your care. So what then happens, And I was making reference to some of those things, that I actually saw, and neighbors had to like intervene.
Yes.
And at some point, a woman said, speaking of this punishment, the woman said, okay, the child stole meat, and then he had to burn the child's hand because she doesn't want the child to actually repeat that. Whenever he looks at it, like he remember what happened, and then he would not go there again. But then what actually drew the neighbor's attention was that the hand, those fingers started to decay and stuff. So they had to rush the boy. So why, if you punish a child, if you not allow your own child, if you're looking at your own child, are you saying that after giving that child punishment, you will just allow whatever is going to exactly, if everything, if that's something that is going to actually end their lives, you just allow it to go?
Personally, I feel like burning the child's hand, is that not too extreme?
Okay,
even if it's for discipline, is it not too extreme?
Okay, and that is the same thing that people were actually saying, that this particular one is not something that maybe if it was your own child, you wouldn't do that to the person.
And I feel like that's also another reason.
Why?
Yes, because they feel like, okay, this is not my child. This is they just have that favoritism. Okay, this is how I'm going to treat my child. This is one is not my child anyways, so I can treat the person whichever way that I want.
Okay.
I don't have a bad reason for you to treat a child, like beat a child. But after beating the child, like caution the child, like let the child feel home, like welcome him or her, make the person tell the person the reason why you did that. You beat her.
Hello. All right, you can still call back and be part of the show. Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464.
It's 0808 427 5464.
This is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM, and we are talking about children in other people's care. If you live somewhere like that, maybe you're probably seeing something like that maybe happening with a child that came to stay with their relative, and then somehow it became a situation where they're getting maltreated, they're getting extreme, some of these extreme things that we have been mentioning, some of these extreme, punishments or things in disguise of this child is very stubborn, or sometimes it's true that the child is actually that stubborn.
Yes.
But then some measures that were taken, were not the right ones at all. You can call in and tell us, why do you think that this actually happens? What is the sudden change? Because you accepted the child to come stay with you, right? And all of a sudden it becomes where you have to maybe maltreat that child, just like Wandoo, you mentioned about another child that you were able to sense that, okay, it was frustration from they are not bringing anything, but you accepted that child, and then the whole fight or the whole issue should be with the parents, should be with the parents, not the child. If you
have an issue with the parents, talk to the parents, not the child.
But somehow the child has to bear that physically. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, this is Professor Elizabeth Ugechi calling from Moses Oshio Adatu University.
All right, welcome to the show.
Thank you. My contribution to this topic is, for whatever reason a child is being maltreated, it's nothing but wickedness, because we all know that children are naughty.
Okay.
Even the Bible says foolishness exists in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction.
Okay.
But some people, they don't beat a child because of correction. It's pure wickedness. You see them with their own children, they dress their children very fine. You see these children going in rags, and they're the ones that do domestic work more. As modern matches, I saw a woman with a nanny of 6 to 7 years, I guess. The baby was even far too fat for that child to carry.
Okay.
And the child was struggling with it. So she bought rice and beans and ate there and did not give this child. Then my heart bled. I was like, what kind of wickedness is this? So even some people, they give them food without meat. Yes, we know children are not, but if it were your biological child, you will not do the things you are doing to that child.
Okay.
So let us know that when we treat these children because they are helpless, God is going to judge us.
All right. All right.
All
right.
Have a lovely day.
You too. Thank you so much for calling in to be part of the show this morning. It's the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior, here with
Wandoo Tortya
And Felicity Girgir.
and we just heard from her. What do you guys think?
First of all, I would say that yes, it's wickedness, because some of these disciplinary acts that is tagged like discipline, it's actually, when you look at it, it's actually too extreme for a child. And I also feel like she also mentioned something that a child of 6-year-old
Being a nanny for another child.
I feel
that
like
child needs a
6-year-old
nanny.
Yes.
6-year-old, you also need a nanny. I feel like 6-year-old is not too small. If the child is too small to actually take care of another child. So I feel like that's also another thing. And I feel like another reason why some parents do all these things is because they lack that emotional connection to those children. Because they do not feel like, okay, this one is not my child, so there's no emotional connection or even connection at all. Then they are not attached to them the way that they'll be attached to their children. So they just, sometimes I feel like sometimes maybe they just do it because of that lack of emotional connection. They don't feel anything towards the child.
And to be honest, just like our first caller actually said, for some people is this that whole targeting of this one is for my wife's place. You know, I hate anything that has to do with my wife's people that didn't want me to marry her, my husband's people that didn't want this, you know, things like that. Like I don't want to even use my eye. That whole frustration. Someone can even carry grudges. I remember some time ago we spoke about inherited grudges. So it can even be those grudges, like they are carrying it from your parents, or your mom's sister did this to me, my sister used to act like this with me, now her child is here, or she didn't know that okay, she was going to end up sending her child to stay here. This is the way she acted with me while we were younger. So now it's time for me to repay on a child that didn't do anything.
I've
to
heard
me.
so many people say that this is how you are treating me now. Wait till you give birth, you see what I'll do to you.
Exactly.
So it's like
and sometimes it seems like it's a joke, you know. Sometimes it seems like it's a joke, you know, but then it's not actually a joke, and they will actually do things like that. Meanwhile, Felicity, you said something about emotional connection, like it's simply because maybe they lack emotional connection without child. But it's emotional connection all it actually takes, you know, to be, must you birth someone, you know, by yourself to actually have that emotional connection with that child, or maybe actually to even take them. Sometimes it's just like looking at another person and saying this one is a human being, and it's a child too. So it's just that emotional connection, you know, that doesn't exist. Enough reason.
It's not enough reason at all. But like I said, some people actually do it just because of the emotional connection, because they are not attached to the child in any way. So it's just for some people, but I feel like it's not enough reason, because whether you are connected to somebody or not, empathy and sympathy is very important.
But you see, the same way that we as adults, Wandoo, the same way as we as adults even build emotional connection with somebody, because you're looking at someone and saying, this one is my husband. You didn't know that person from anywhere before. This is my fiancé, I'm getting my, you didn't know him from anywhere before. You had to build that. So if we actually look at having emotional connection, sometimes it doesn't come with being the one who births that child, because a mother can even give birth to a child, you know, and still not have that emotional connection with that child. So I feel like it's something that can be built, you know, and absence of it is more like you have to deliberately even try to build that emotional connection with that child, you know, trying to understand them and then having that patience with them before it actually comes on, instead of just saying, well, it's not there. You don't expect it to just be established the moment you know you set your eyes on that child. I mean, a human being is always going to be a human being, but then you are willing to like open your mind, oh, this person is here now, is here to stay. I feel like the emotional connection would actually, you know, just come from somewhere. Somehow it's going to come. This is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM, and I am your host on the show. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior, and I'm here with
Wandoo Tortya
and Felicity Girgir.
And we are talking about children in other people's care. Now, you also can call in to be part of this conversation if you were maybe even a child like that, and someone that you grew up in someone else's care, maybe a relative or a family friend, you know, something like that, and you had to go through this manner of treatment. You can call in, or it's possible that you are even seeing a neighbor's child going through something like that right now. Call in and let us hear from you. Or sometimes not even your clothes, just like our last caller said about maybe just going to the market and then randomly seeing something like this. You can still share with us. Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464.
It's 0808 427 5464.
And we are also streaming live on Facebook at Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM Makudi. So you can watch live on Facebook and even leave a comment if you have something to say. Hello? Hello? All right, you can call us back and be part of the show. Tell us what you think. Why do people even maltreat those children, you know, who they did not birth, but then they accepted them, you know, from the onset, like, come and stay with me. Or sometimes it's even them that requested that, I want your child to come and stay with me. In turn, I want to be paying their school fees. I want to be doing this. And then they actually help me. But then you are maltreating them. So what actually happens along the line? Call in and let us hear from you this morning. So now, how does this actually even affect those children? And I would start by saying the most notable one is, you know, when it gets physical, like those physical maltreatment, because maltreatment, I don't think it's just physical, sometimes even emotional, you know.
Yes.
The different gatherings, we are sitting here at the table, but you are not allowed. I get that there are going to be boundaries. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Lillian from North Bank.
All right, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So, concerning the topic on ground,
Yes.
the thing is, more than half of the people hardly find it difficult to carry other people's children as their own. So, they might even have a good intention, but later on they start seeing it like, although it's a favor, but you don't have to put it to that person that without me, it cannot be anything. There are still actually good people out there who take.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Go on.
There are other people out there who can take other children like their own. Like me personally.
Yes.
I grew up with my auntie. And so far, they treated me very well.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right.
But the truth is this: God should grant everybody help to train their own children by themselves.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Lillian, for calling in to be part of the show this morning. It's the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. We are talking about children in other people's care, and we heard from Lillian, and she is saying that it's not just the bad ones, just like we established from the start, right, guys? We established that, you know, from the start, that the good ones are there. And also a caller even said that was just like a way of helping others, you know, African culture, you know, supporting each other, doing this and having the other person's back, because sometimes it's not on purpose. If you leave this world, you maybe someone else is taking your child in, you know, expecting, not allowing that child to be out there on the street. But when it comes to something you are doing willingly, like you accept it. If you refuse, like, I don't want any child, I don't want any responsibility, it's a different thing. And then, you know, even if someone calls you wicked at that point, it's going to stop. Instead of bringing a child in and then allowing them to go through something that
not supposed
exactly they are not supposed to go through. Now you also can still call in and be part of the show. Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464.
It's 0808 427 5464.
It's the speed lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM, and we are just about to talk about how it actually affects, you know, the child. Physical injuries, number one, and I'll leave the emotional sides of it for you, Felicity. How do you think it actually affects them?
It actually affects the child because it causes emotional trauma. Because if you are, even if you are not physically abusing somebody, you can be abusing the person emotionally, like you were saying earlier, by just removing the person from, okay, you are not part of us, okay, you are going to sit here, but the plate you are going to eat in, or the amount of food you are going to get, and all of that. And I feel like it deeply affects the child emotionally. So I feel like emotional trauma is also part of it. And then I feel like the child could also become depressed and develop anxiety, because these things are very deep things. The person will start even lose self-esteem and start feeling like, okay, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I'm not just good enough. And sometimes I feel like these things can also even make them hate their parents.
They become villains. Sometimes we heard where people talk about, like, villains are made, you know, they are not born. They are actually made
and
like
build resentment
exactly
towards even the world.
Imagine having that kind of anger, you know, accumulating everything and just waiting for the day that you can actually do something. And even in that same house, one thing that some people don't realize, like some adults, you know, some parents who are actually taking children and then go ahead and do some of these things to them, one thing they don't realize is that those children, they actually have the tendency of even turning back to hurt you. Because imagine, I saw a video some time ago where someone was like trying to make eba for her madam, you know, the person in the house, and then she was using her feet to match the whole thing, spitting on it and all of that. So imagine, like, things, it starts from things like that, and the next thing, there are certain needles for you to come and sleep on, and it becomes like, sometimes you see some of these things and you think it's not real, but then it actually happens. And it starts from, you know, just building some of those things. Not to say that the bad people are not going to be there, but sometimes you're able to, like, avoid it by treating them right, and then making sure that even when they grow up, like, at least they have that space. Imagine our last caller, Lydian, who said so far she confessed with her own mouth that, okay, it's been good, and her auntie has been looking after her. They know these things, like, they're able to tell that, okay, something like this is going on, this is maltreatment, and this is proper treatment. So you can still call in and share with us what your thoughts are on our topic of discussion. Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464.
It's 0808 427 5461. Wandoo, I really feel like you have a lot to say.
Exactly. She's been quiet, but agreeing.
Yes. The effect of this is it makes a child to be depressed. Like, when you see the child, we always alone, lonely, calm, gentle, and it's not even open. When you see a child, like, what's wrong with you? You'll be calm and just quiet. There's a movie I watch. The father slept with the mother. The lady was a house help in the house. So he now impregnated the lady. They now gave birth. But the wife said that there's no problem. She can take care of the child like her own child. So during the process, when the child grew up, and anytime she look at the child, it's scars that she'll be seeing, like the husband cheated on her. So she was angry. So she now maltreated the child. But to the child's ignorance, she did not know that that's not the mother. So the way the woman used to treat the sister is different from the way they used to treat her. So she was calm and quiet and depressed all along. But before you know, she noticed it, and she decided to check around the house and saw a letter that the mother's job before passing out. So she now discovered that this is not her real mother. Yes, at the process, she now decided to leave the house. So she went to another place, and those people they welcomed her very well. So at the process, she was doing well. Then the father now they're not looking for her. They found her and brought her back. So when they brought her up, the woman was regretting her past actions because they really treated her bad. And she was depressed. So altogether, she was found and brought up, but the scars was there. Like
Those scars were
yes, the scars were there, and she was really because the woman really maltreated her to the core. So it makes a child uncomfortable in the home. She was not comfortable, even though when she left the house and went to a new home, she was welcome. She was treated like a princess. In a stranger's home instead of her own home. In her home, she was not, even though she used to work, take care of the house, but it was not okay for the woman because she was not the biological child. So it makes a child uncomfortable when they are not accepted in their own home. Yes.
So before we go, let's talk about some of the things, the ways that you think that what we can actually do going forward, because this has been like an issue right from time. It's not a recent issue. It's not something that started from today. It's not the first time you hear someone even complain about something like this or say anything like this. So what can we actually do? Number for you to call is 0808 427 5464.
That's 0808 427 5464.
It's the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM, and I am your host on the show. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior. I'm here with
Wandoo Tortya
and Felicity Girgir.
And I would start from myself by saying the first thing I've been emphasizing: don't take a child in if you know that you truly do not want that person, from the depths of your heart.
I don't know how to take care of a child.
Exactly. If you do not want that person and you're so sure of it, it's better to just not take that child in. Who knows? Maybe there might be a different opportunity for that child that would actually, a different person that will actually be able to take that child in and even take care of them. But let's hear what you also think.
The next thing I'll say is that parents should not just give their children and then just disappear, because if you give your child, I feel like most of the reasons why people maltreat children because they feel like there's no consequence, because there's nobody coming to check up on the child. So if parents actually give their child to someone, they should check in more, because if you check in and you see some of these things happening, then maybe you even withdraw your child from there, or maybe these people see that the parents are coming to check in, I cannot even misbehave with this child. So I feel like it's also very important. And then neighbors as well. I feel like neighbors play a very important role in this, because neighbors will either choose to ignore or just do something about it. So the neighbors should not ignore any sign of abuse. If you see a child getting abused, just help the person, or even alert someone that can help the person.
I wonder, what are you thinking before we go?
Yes, I feel that if you see a child in trauma or is not safe, you should raise an alarm. You should check the child and know what is the problem. Yes, and parents should not just take their children to stay with someone they are not really close to, they don't know, in the name of help. Let's know who your child is staying with, and try to check in and also provide for the child. Don't leave the workload for the person that is staying with the child, the person you gave your child to stay with alone, because it can be frustrating. Our economy is not really,
and then
it's not smiling.
Yes, and the last thing I'll say is that we should also teach a child how to speak up for themselves.
And just to add to what Wandoo say, because for some persons it's not like on purpose that they take a child to go and stay with someone who maybe they are not so comfortable with. Some people just maybe pass on and then leave a child behind. It's not really their fault. So for situations like that, it still boils down on the families. In as much as you're trying to do good, if you're not comfortable with it, it's best to just kick against the whole idea right from the start. There could be better opportunities out there for that child to actually be safe and then be in a better environment, instead of just taking them in and then pouring a lot of frustrations on them. So that is it for the Speed Lane this morning. We have been talking about children in other people's care, and I've been your host on the show. My name is Marysyntia Hangeior. I've been here with
Wandoo Tortya
and Felicity Girgir.
And also coming up next at 10 a.m. after the news is King James 90s Top 10 right here on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And until then, keep enjoying music of your life.
Hello, my cutie. Asking Radio is here.